Hi, and welcome to Courageous Journeys. Thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your day today to walk with me in this journey that we call life. I am very excited about the guest I have with me today. Kanina Johnson is an author of Walk in Your Power and a visionary life success coach, empowering women to attract whatever they desire, helping executives, business leaders, and entrepreneurs to connect with their higher side and lead more productive, fulfilling, and enriching lives. She's a prodigy of Bob Proctor, the master life success coach featured in the blockbuster film The Book, The Secret. She is living life of purpose and feels blessed to be awakened by God and given the tools and power to enlighten and empower others who desire a higher level of awareness of life. As of today, she's spent more than 19 years studying the mind. 11 of those years were spent working directly with mentally challenged individuals as a licensed, skilled instructor and a licensed administrator operating her own group home. She realized that the gap between potential and achieved goals could be bridged if only people could understand the power and potential of their own minds and make a decision to be, do, or have whatever they wished. Kanina Johnson is a local business owner here for 17 years, owning and operating 4 successful businesses since 1996. She and her husband presently still own their first business. She has a loving and joyful marriage with her soulmate, as she says, for 26 years and counting. She thanks God daily for being blessed to have met and married her soulmate just 3.5 months after her 18th birthday. That's a long time, very young. She's a proud mother of 3 magnificent children. It is her desire to continue to empower the mind with tools for great success and enable the heart to attract its greatest desires. Thank you for joining me today, Kanina. It's really nice to have you.
Thank you.
I enjoyed reading your book, and I'm excited to share with others what the book is all about. I was sharing with you kind of some of my preconceptions before I read the book, and was pleasantly surprised to find out that what I thought it might be was not. So for you, what inspired you to write this book, Walk in Your Power?
Well, the reason I wrote Walk in Your Power is because I came involved with some very powerful information. And the information that I came involved with were success principles that are operating in our lives, and we know it or not. And I felt compelled to share the knowledge.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So as far as your own personal journey, share with us the searching and trying to understand who you are and who God is and what the whole meaning of human existence is. Where did that start back for you?
Well, actually, it really started back for me early on. As a child, I was sexually molested. And so I've never grown up with my birth dad. And so my stepdad is the person that sexually molested me. And I've been a very, very spiritual person. Back in about, I think it was like 1990, it's been about 23 years now, I moved out to California from Louisiana with $37. My husband,
that's pretty brave.
He wasn't my husband at the time, and that's even braver, was, my soulmate. And as I stated, we moved out with $37. Over the years, I gained success. Then back in year 2004, I started searching for answers. Although I had been already in the industry where I was taking care of mentally challenged people, I just felt the urge that I wanted to know, who is God? I wanted to know why I was here. I wanted to know the reason other humans was here. I wanted to know the reason why this happened, and it's supposed to be a God. I found those answers throughout the years from 2004, searching I went to a lot of different seminars.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. So what, here in California, or where were you going to seminars, and what kind of seminars?
Actually, I would travel. I would travel to Phoenix. I would travel to Las Vegas. I did a lot of seminars here, Los Angeles. My focus was learning from experts and to understand what was going on. I did a lot of personal enhancements courses where I worked personally one-on-one with other, success coaches. But the person that put the most inspired action upon me, besides the pastor Creflo Dollar, was Bob Proctor. So all the knowledge that I had gained throughout the years, Bob Proctor is the one that actually brought all of that information together and helped me to understand. And he's actually the person that has been really had inspired me to write a book. Although you probably don't know it, it's from learning from him. Yeah. Yes.
That's fascinating, because we all want to know the answers to these questions, and even though intuitively, quite often, we know deep in our being what the answers may be, but we are, for multiple reasons, in denial or fight the laws of the universe. And that's my next question to you. You have stated towards the beginning of the book that you're going to share with us the universal laws that govern our lives. What is the universal law?
What is the universal law? Well, it's many universal laws. I talk about the law of attraction in my book. I talk about the law of obedience, the law of forgiveness, the law of love, the law of it's many different laws. But what happens is all the laws work in harmony with each other. Pretty much the foundation of the laws is like the law of attraction, because everything is energy. So the law of attraction is the same thing as like the law of vibration, because everything is moving at all times.
I got to share something funny with you. You know, that the law of attraction or vibrations, my husband always laughs because he calls me a magnet when I'm meditating or focusing or whatever. All of a sudden, all the animals in the house come to right where I'm at. It's the strangest phenomenon, you know?
Yes.
So, yes. But that law of attraction, too, in other ways I've seen evident when, as I read in your book, that you stated that when you have an ideal in your mind of something that you want to achieve, either for the good of others or for the glory of God, or whatever that purpose is, the ideal, all of a sudden opportunities start presenting themselves. When you have your mind on that vision and you have done the work in advance to get to that point, the opportunities present themselves, but you have to be ready for those opportunities, right? So this book is very useful.
Yes. And you know what? One of the laws that I want to bring up, and is actually the most very important law, is the law of thinking. And the law of thinking states in the Bible, as a man thinketh, so is he. Our thoughts is our gift from God, and we use our thoughts. We have the subconscious mind, we have the conscious mind. That's what we was gifted with. And we can attract things to us by focusing on it. You know, that's actually what the law of attraction is, but we're using our thoughts to focus, because everything begins with a thought.
Right. And not just that, but those laws that are attached to that, everything, like you mentioned, have to be in line in order for that to really work. Because a lot of people end up, we got a fly in here with us, end up defeating their vision or their goal by allowing those other things to interfere. So let's not get too far ahead in the book, because then we'll end up losing track. So you wrote, if you desire to become great, the soul must act and must rule the mind and body. Our knowledge is limited. We fall into error through ignorance. If you desire to avoid this, you must, and this is kind of what I was leading to, you must connect your soul with the universal spirit, otherwise known as, for some, God, for some, love, for some, whatever. If it's the power of the universe, it all boils down to that love and energy and that vibration, right?
Correct.
So how does one stay connected to that power?
Okay. I know we used the word God, and I just want to be clear in the cover, So in other words, God, throughout my book, I use the word God. And I'm not coming from a religion, quote, quote, standpoint. I'm coming from truly understanding our oneness with God, the intelligent mind that knows all, which is actually God. But what the problem comes in at, so many people have a label of God when God is a spirit of love. Okay, so you may see God as love. Somebody may see it as Jehovah, Lord. So it all is the same. So to answer your question, the way that you would be connected to the power, and throughout the interview I'm going to use the word God because that's what I use in my daily life, the term God. The way you would stay connected to this power, and that power that I'm talking about is God. You will cast out anything that separates you from God. And the things that separate you from God, some of the things are jealousy, envy, strife, jealousy. So those are some of the things that
create distance between you and the supreme being or God or the universe, right? They create a gap between your closeness with God.
Correct.
And therefore inhibit that. What do you believe we as humans, why do you believe we're here on earth as humans?
Okay. Through my research, I found that the reason we are here on earth is to co-create with God. We are spiritual beings. We are on earth going through a physical experience.
I liked reading that because I can relate to that. We're going to cut for commercial, but we'll be right back. Thank you, Kanina. Thanks for tuning in.
The hunt to quench your thirst is on. Ecolo Blue is a revolutionary atmospheric water generator, producing water straight from the air, up to 8 gallons a day at 20 cents per gallon with no additional hookup required. Ecolo Blue is the clear champion of the water solution revolution. To health, to purity, to the pursuit. Ecolo Blue.
Own it all at Onacar, Fresno.
Family photos tell your stories. Faces, places, milestones, and moments. You probably meant to preserve those memories. But where are those pictures now? Hiding in boxes or inside the discoloring pages of old albums? Do you own hours of home movies and videotapes that you can't even watch? Slides and negatives that you've saved for all these years and you never get to see? Think of all of those precious memories that you've saved from the past to share with the future. Thanks to technology, we're taking more photos than ever, but we're not printing them like we should. Those digital images are held hostage on phones, tablets, and hard drives, leaving them as high-risk targets for accidents and hardware failure. What will happen to all of these images that tell your life story? Cherish those captured memories, not by hiding them, but by safely saving them. Put this overwhelming task on your own agenda or enlist Horn Photo's expertise. Horn Photo provides hands-on help from day one with organizing, scanning, restoring, and duplicating photographs. We can digitize your print and video memories onto DVD for easy viewing and safe, efficient storage. All you need to do is gather your prints, slides, negatives, and videos, then bring them into Horn Photo, where we will care for your cherished memories. In most cases, you can pick up your originals and your DVD within a few days. Once everything is on DVD, it's easy and affordable to order copies of your DVD for your children, siblings, and the rest of your family, so that you can share your memories with everyone. The best part is what can happen once your memories are digitized. We will show you how to transform your pictures into keepsake photo gifts and products you can enjoy for years to come. Don't wait for a disaster to destroy your collection of memories. Take steps to sort, save, and share your life in photos, whether you do it yourself or have Horn Photo help. Stop into Horn Photo and see our full range of solutions for saving and sharing your precious memories.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Look at the camera. Hi, I am here today with Kanina Johnson, and we are discussing her book, Walk in Your Power. And we were just talking about the fact that we're spiritual beings living a life here on earth, and that it's your concept that we are meant to be co-creating with God and doing wonderful things, right? For you personally, Kanina, what actually has helped you in creating the life that you desire or working towards that?
Well, actually, I want to say that I had been a competent, if I'm getting it right. In other words, when I came out and I gained success, when I look back, it's like I really did not know what I was doing. But as I really, understood what I was doing, I started doing it on purpose.
Right.
Okay?
Because like we said earlier, a lot of times we do things intuitively. We don't understand why we feel it's the right way. So you were doing a lot of things right.
Okay, so I'm going to speak on the part where I was actually consciously doing it, even though I was doing it all those years, but just to help people to understand the answer to this question. I kept an orderly mind.
So what does it mean? Tell our viewers what it means to keep an orderly mind.
Well, we have a lot of things that goes on in our life throughout the day that are entering our subconscious mind through our five senses. And majority of the people have no idea what is entering their mind because they are walking around unconscious, or shall we say asleep. So in order to consciously organize your mind, you need to actually understand and be consciously aware of what is entering your mind. So for me, I was a conscious being. So every morning what I do, first of all, throughout the day, I make sure that I'm aware and stay consciously aware. So every morning before I rise, I pray. I connect to my supreme power. I set out a plan for the day. I set out a plan to, how I want my day to go about. I normally do that actually the night before, but before I rise or in the morning when I meditate, I go over the plan and I stick to the plan. I keep negativity out of my life, and I'm very positive.
And that's not an easy thing to do because the outside world is everywhere, right? At every corner. For instance, like on the drive over here, I was really glad that I left a little bit early because there was a big traffic thing going on. So when a negative, let's say you and I were having a conversation and I threw you just a totally negative comment about the book, for instance, which I wouldn't because I enjoy the book. But if I did, how in your own mind would you then interpret that and feed a different response in your mind to that negative statement?
So how I would do it. First of all, I understand the mind. I understand the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. I know that the conscious mind has the ability to accept or reject any ideal that comes into it by the five senses. So when a negative comes to me, and a negative, believe me, I've had a lot of negatives in regards to my book, especially because it says walk in your power. So they thinking, oh, it's your personal power, when they're not realizing they have not read the book. And I'm actually talking about the supreme power that's
that's why I wanted to do you the justice of reading the entire book.
Correct. And so my book actually is the uniform orderly operation of God, how God operates on this planet. So we should connect to, in other words, we have all these laws, a lot of laws. One of the laws that we normally think about is the law of attraction, but the law of attraction works in harmony with all those other laws, which is God's orderly operation on this earth.
But my question is, when you have a negative statement, then you tell yourself, it's not about, how do you deal with that?
Correct.
What do you tell yourself?
So when I get a negative statement, first of all, I reject it.
Okay. Okay, that's what I wanted you to share.
No doubt about it. I reject it. I feed my mind with affirmations. I know to think what is truth to me, not what someone else said.
Is trying to feed you, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So I don't want to take you off on a tangent,
Yes.
but then that leads to the same thing with regards to how we explain how attitudes affect our entire life. They affect our health, our relationships. So our own attitude of how we respond to the world and the events that happen to us affects our relationships with other people. It affects our financial life and our perceived success. And I don't know if that was during the break or or on the show, but one's perception of what success is, if we understand that it's not all about the money, quite often then we can have this sense of gratitude, right?
Correct. I think a lot of times when people think of success, even when I talk about success a lot, especially like on Facebook, I'm not really talking about just plain money. I'm talking about total life prosperity. I'm talking about having prosperity in your health, your wealth, your finances, your relationships, because if one is missing, then you're not having total life. You're not having total life prosperity. And for is your attitude, the attitude is your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. So we have the ability to, when we say the universe give back to us, our attitude towards the universe is actually correct. If you think you cannot do something, you cannot do it. If you can believe that you can do it, then you can do it. You set your mind to it, and you can do whatever you choose to do.
Right. I think I've heard the term self-prophesying, right? What you believe to be true, it'll end up being the case for you. If you feel like you're never going to succeed, then you're not going to succeed.
That is actually correct. And guess what? Guess what is working? The law of attraction. That's the law of attraction, because what you did is impressed it up onto your conscious mind, and which has the ability to accept or reject. So you enter it through your conscious mind that has the ability to accept or reject, and what you didn't do is you impress it up onto your conscious mind, your subconscious mind that doesn't have that ability. And so what happens is the subconscious mind is the godlike part of you, and it shoots out, which it has no idea what is real or what is imagined. So when you're impressing those thoughts up onto your mind, the thoughts that you really do not want, what you're doing is sending those vibrations out into the universe, and the universe is going to give you exactly back what you requested. So that's where it comes in, where you can use your mind and attract things to you, because what you're going to do, you're going to think the way you want to think. And as you think the way you want to think, that's your truth. You're going to impress it up onto your subconscious mind. As you impress it up onto your subconscious mind, it's going to place your body into a vibration, and you're sending it out into the universe, and the universe is going to give it back to you. So it's going to be a reflection of you.
So you do that. You explain in your book that you do that through affirmations. Explain to our viewers what an affirmation is, and give some examples.
Okay.
What you would tell yourself in a way of an affirmation.
An affirmation is a positive statement that you give yourself. It helps you to block out negative information that came in. It also helps you, so if you're desiring to, let's say you're desiring to attract something, one of the affirmations that I love, I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continued basis. You know, I had to say that one. But another one, you may want to say, I mean, you can use the word, you can use whatever affirmation that you desire. And remember, when we use the word I see I am as our God-given name. So anything that you put behind I am, you're actually speaking about yourself. So you want to say I am. So I am are two very extremely powerful words. Let's use, for example, you are trying to attract a nice home. So your affirmation may be, I'm so happy and grateful now that I am living in my 5,000 square feet home. And as you continue to do that and impress those affirmations up onto your subconscious mind, remember that your subconscious mind is the godlike part of you. It doesn't know what is real or what is imagined. And that is the spirit, that is the godlike part of you. So what you're doing is you're feeding that information up onto your subconscious mind. And believe me, the universe will give it back to you.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of reading on different on therapies, and last month we were talking about mental health, and I just want to interject something else in that with regards to the power of affirmations. So for instance, when you have, like you and I both have been through difficult childhoods, when you have experienced those kind of things, quite often what happens in our subconscious mind is that, for instance, we have the idea, we have the belief system that we are unworthy, that we are not of value. And so what happens in our conscious daily lives without us realizing that is that we then transfer that feeling or what we believe about ourselves in a negative way. For instance, if I believe that I am unworthy to be paid great amounts of money because of my shame due to the things that were done to me, then in my life I would belittle myself, and I've seen myself doing this. And the more that I'm studying on, all these different philosophies and therapies and so on and so forth, it's become more evident to me that in telling myself consciously so that it will be impressed on my subconscious mind, for instance, that I am worthy, I do have gifts to share, and we will talk about that, because it's not, we must remember to give back. Correct. In order to have the law of attraction, you have to remember to give of your gifts in some way, and therefore and not in trade though, right? So I'm going to jump, I don't know, I think that's a little further, but I love that part that you talked about of to not think of it as a trade. Do you remember that part in your book?
Are you speaking about
for trading services? Don't think of it that way, but
are you speaking about the part where when you giving, in other words, as you give and you're in gratitude, and then it comes back to you? So I think that's So in other words, do not give. I say do not give to get back.
Right, with anticipation that you're
getting back, especially. So when you give from your heart, and it'll come back.
Right. And okay, so we are going to cut in a minute for commercial, but before we do, when you're giving from your heart, and we're talking about giving back, you also have in there, which many people have, said it a little differently, but you have the statement about sowing the seed. What I liked, the twist that you added to that was that, okay, you reap what you sow, but you said there's also a universal law that there's a time of a period of gestation, which means that has to grow. Correct. What you put out there has to then multiply in order to come back.
Correct. Because we get a lot of people that, they know the seed time and harvest, which is actually a universal natural law. They feel that they may give some money.
And they want it instantly.
Or they go, I was praying for $1,000, so I came and gave $400, and I don't have it by next week. They have to realize it's a natural process. Right. You plant a seed, and first of all, you shouldn't be giving the money to try to get back. You want to give from your heart and where you're spiritually led to give. But yes, it's just like a farmer. When he goes out and plant a seed, like a corn seed, it doesn't come up the next day. It takes time, gestation. It's the same thing with our life.
Yeah. Well, we'll be right back. Thanks for tuning in.
Bottled water is expensive. The plastic can leach toxic chemicals into the water, and 38 billion bottles a year are tossed into our landfills. Protect your family and the environment. Next time you're thirsty, reach for nature's purest gift.
Ecolo blue, pure water from the air.
If you have a pet, a horse, a dog, or a giant tortoise, sooner or later, you're going to have to scoop the poo.
Scoop the poo, scoop the poo, scoop the poo, take care of you. What you don't want to do, scoop the poo will do for you.
Hello, I'm attorney Jessica Smith-Bobadilla, and I'm here to announce that we now have a show called Immigration Chat with attorney Jessica Smith-Bobadilla. The topic of the show is immigration law and immigration law problems and questions. So please feel free. The show airs every other Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Please feel free to call in with your immigration law questions. We will answer questions in English and in Spanish. Thank you.
This just in. Tower District houses are selling for as little as $300 per month. If you have a job and decent credit, you can own your own home. If you can come up with a down payment, you can own a home a lot cheaper than you can rent, and your payment will never go up. Also, you could deduct most of your house payment from your income taxes. If you'd like to lock in your monthly house payment at $300 to $500 per month for the next 30 years, call Mike Briggs Properties, 486-6758. Mike Briggs Properties, 486-6758.
Solar energy is now more affordable than ever. Hi, I'm Ty Simpson, sales manager of the new Bland Solar office here in Clovis. And right now at Bland Solar, we're offering a program with zero down payment. That's right, zero money out of your pocket. This new program is affordable and easy, with guaranteed production and no appraisals needed. In fact, your new system can be up and running in as little as 4 weeks. Bland Solar looks forward to serving the residents of the Central Valley. So call us today at 554-5657. Bland Solar, the Valley's expert in solar.
I'm Christopher Bundros. I'm a CPA in Clovis. People come to me who haven't filed their taxes in quite a while, or when they do file their tax returns, they're surprised by how much taxes they owe. Or when tax season comes along, their records are so disorganized they have no idea what their income or expenses are. Call me at 559-765-0313 to arrange a complimentary 30-minute needs assessment. You can also find me on the web at clovisaccounting.com.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Hi, so I hope you're enjoying so far our discussion about Kanina Johnson's book, Walk in Your Power. Right before we cut for commercial, we were discussing, affirmations and what we believe to be true in our subconscious and how that affects us. Now, on the opposite side of that, on page 53, you wrote about the perception of truth and how a lot of people have common sayings that kind of mislead us in understanding the perception of truth. Would you like to share with us that? And I know we have a copy there. So.
Yes, Theodora. I actually got a copy of my book so that I can make sure that I am on the same page and I can make sure I hit those points, So yes, a lot of times we hear the saying, seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. That's because people really, honestly, truly, I don't think they probably realize it, but seeing and believing, if you only live your life seeing and believing, that's very ignorant, because seeing and believing is only what you see and hear and smell and taste through your senses. In reality, the truth is believing is seeing.
And explain that, because I don't know if everybody will be able to pick up on what you mean by that. So what I came to understand through reading that portion of your book was that, and I've heard other people say the same thing, is quite often before someone ever even, like, for instance, if I had not taken the time to read your book, I would have had a completely different perception.
Correct.
But when we walk in throughout our lives, most things we've already made decisions on before we even see the proof of it. We've already formed that belief system, right?
Yes.
Or what our own personal truth is. So then in twisting that, how does one then, instead of seeing is believing, how do they understand how to believe what their truth, their positive feelings should be?
First of all, for seeing and believing means that you only believe what you see through your five senses. The five senses are actually given to us to communicate with the outside world. And when I say believing is seeing, believing is going inside and going into the spiritual world, connecting with that power that's inside of you, connecting with God, and you believing that you will receive before you receive it in the natural. Some of the things that I stated everything in the universe we can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch together with emotions is the manifestation of energy.
Okay. Yeah, because the emotions create energy, right?
Correct.
And then that's that vibration that we're sending out.
Correct.
You mentioned also on that same page that we're constantly living on 3 planes of being. What do you mean by that? 3 planes of being. So is that what you just said? The seeing, feeling?
No. We are living on 3 planes of beings all at the same time. I'm just trying to make it very clear.
Yeah, which is
we are spiritual, we have an intellect, and we are physical. So spiritual is like the non-physical, is your thoughts, and it's the energy, your energy. Your intellect is your ideals. Your physical is your results, and it's things.
Right, the senses, right, are tied into the physical, to the flesh.
Correct. The things like your car, or your physical table, your physical body, anything that's physical. We're dealing with the physical world all at the same time. We're dealing with the intellect because we're using our mind, and we are spiritual beings. Right. That's what I mean by that.
Okay. As far as, let's talk about faith and our belief systems. Give us an example for our viewing audience of how someone attempts to achieve certain results can end in failure due to hidden belief systems. Well, that's back to what we were talking about as far as what we believe. So talk about hidden belief systems and how they can then create failure for what our ultimate goal, we think our ultimate goal is.
Okay. I'll start off with faith. Faith actually is
that's in that chapter, I think. Huh?
Yes, I go more in detail, but just so the viewers will understand, faith is a mindset. It is a mindset that you know that you know that you know. Forrest, she asked me in regards to the hidden
beliefs.
The hidden beliefs. What I mean about that is because you can, you know how you have a hidden belief. Let's say, for instance, money. Okay, let's say you desire to earn more money. That's your hidden belief. You want to add. You want to for whatever purpose. But then what you do is you go out in your everyday life, and somebody may be talking about money. So in other words, so your hidden belief could be you can be doing your affirmations, you can been ask God to send this money to you because you want to do whatever. You've actually lived your life in harmony with the universe, but when you go out and you're communicating with the outside world, someone may say money, and then what you start doing is saying, you start talking down about money, you start talking negative because you're flowing along so that you can, I guess, mingle with the person, because you have a hidden belief. You want nobody to know that you're worried about what someone else say, but that hidden belief
comes out, and you get pulled into their negativity, right?
Yes.
So not only do we have negative self-thought that we think in our own minds, but then when others, for instance, are saying, something about how, this economy, no one can get ahead. That's a good one, right?
Correct.
I think you say something about that. Then we're like, it's so hard, instead of, but there's opportunity out there.
Correct, because we get pulled in a lot throughout the day. I mean, people may come and say negative things to you, and you're not even knowing it, and you're going along with their conversation.
We're surrounded through everything, media.
And guess what? You are out of alignment, So that's why it's very important. That's why I wrote the book, because it's very important for people to understand these laws. These laws are working in our lives, if we know it or not. And you want to understand these laws so that you can be in harmony with God, because God has given us the power to be, do, and have what our heart desire that is in harmony with God. And so we want to co-create on purpose. We want to understand that so that we can stay in that close relationship and stay in that harmony with God, so that we can attract those desires to us.
I read, I agree with that. I read a passage, and I'm not good about quoting, but anyway, I read a passage that mentioned in the Bible that through our kindness and through our our sin, we birth our next life. Now, why I'm bringing this up is because we're talking about the law of attraction. We're talking about the physical world life that we're living right now here in this physical world. But I think it's important for people to remember that it isn't just about this life. That if you believe in a heaven, or if you believe in a next life, or however you perceive what will happen to you when this particular life is over, at some point we all have to meet our maker, right? So
Correct.
all these laws still tie you back into that, you know, what goes around comes around, what you put out comes back. So life has many obstacles no matter how we live our lives, and the trick that we need to do is how to overcome those obstacles. So Kanina's book is very helpful in that she is in several ways explaining what the particular law is and how it governs your life without you knowing it or not. And then also has suggestions on how to then take that knowledge and use it in your life to build that closer relationship with the omnipotent, right?
Mm-hmm.
All being, all supreme knowledge and love and information to tie into that so that you can achieve what you want in this life. So I found that very interesting, and I know it's a new concept possibly for a lot of people out there, but very much worth the read.
Mm-hmm.
And would you mind zooming into this since we have this with us today?
Yeah.
So let's see. I don't know. This is Kanina's book here. It's not very long of a read, but for me it did take me a little longer than I thought it would, because I kept going back and relating for myself how the particular laws tie into what we were talking about earlier as far as what you know before you really know you know it, right?
Correct. Correct.
So we'll be right back. Very good read, Kanina Johnson, Walk in Your Power, and that can be purchased on Amazon, but Kanina's website is actually on the screen right now, so we'll be right back. Thanks for tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
The hunt to quench your thirst is on. Ecolo Blue is a revolutionary atmospheric water generator, producing water straight from the air, up to 8 gallons a day at 20 cents per gallon with no additional hookup required. Ecolo Blue is the clear champion of the water solution revolution. To health, to purity, to the pursuit. Ecolo Blue.
Own it all at Onacar, Fresno.
Family photos tell your stories. Faces, places, milestones, and moments. You probably meant to preserve those memories. But where are those pictures now? Hiding in boxes or inside the discoloring pages of old albums? Do you own hours of home movies and videotapes that you can't even watch? Slides and negatives that you've saved for all these years and you never get to see? Think of all of those precious memories that you've saved from the past to share with the future. Thanks to technology, we're taking more photos than ever, but we're not printing them like we should. Those digital images are held hostage on phones, tablets, and hard drives, leaving them as high-risk targets for accidents and hardware failure. What will happen to all of these images that tell your life story? Cherish those captured memories, not by hiding them, but by safely saving them. Put this overwhelming task on your own agenda or enlist Horn Photo's expertise. Horn Photo provides hands-on help from day one with organizing, scanning, restoring, and duplicating photographs. We can digitize your print and video memories onto DVD for easy viewing and safe, efficient storage. All you need to do is gather your prints, slides, negatives, and videos, then bring them into Horn Photo, where we will care for your cherished memories. In most cases, you can pick up your originals and your DVD within a few days. Once everything is on DVD, it's easy and affordable to order copies of your DVD for your children, siblings, and the rest of your family. so that you can share your memories with everyone. The best part is what can happen once your memories are digitized. We will show you how to transform your pictures into keepsake photo gifts and products you can enjoy for years to come. Don't wait for a disaster to destroy your collection of memories. Take steps to sort, save, and share your life in photos, whether you do it yourself or have Horn Photo help. Stop into Horn Photo and see our full range of solutions for saving and sharing your precious memories.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Oh, what a great time we're having here during commercial break. Just enjoying life. So we were talking about obstacles, and Kanina, tell our audience how we should deal with overcoming obstacles when faced with problems in our lives.
Okay. Well, first of all, we're going to have a lot of challenges here in life because we are on this physical earth. So no matter all these laws that you know, believe me, by being here on this physical earth, we will have challenges. One of the main things that you want to do to overcome those challenges is, first of all, raise your level of awareness and become conscious. But when you're actually faced with a challenge, you should actually stop, calm down, and relax. What I think will help a lot of people, and I talk about it in my book, is look at, like challenges from a person looking from the outside in. Look at that challenge as someone else was going through it. Another thing is with challenges, focus on how you desire the outcome to be, not on the challenge itself. Remember, the law of attraction is working, so if you're focusing on the challenges, you're going to attract more of the challenge or more of the problem. So use your subconscious mind to think the way you want to think. So as you come down and relax and you do that, you're going to have answers come to you, and those answers are going to come to you through your intuition, your hunches, and you react on those.
Right. So instead of focusing on the problem itself, for instance, let's say, okay, which this happened this weekend, unfortunately, my daughter called freaking out that her car got towed, and she's freaking about how she's gonna, and this, and it's gonna add up to be more, and this and that, and I'm like, okay, stop, let's breathe. And I had to think, instead of getting sent into that same adrenaline panic mode, I have to then step back and think about the positive outcome. No, I told her everything's gonna be fine.
Correct.
We're going to figure out a way. Your car's going to get out. You're not going to have it in another day. So stepping back and thinking of the positive outcome, and then, like you said, ideas for the solution will come to you.
Correct.
So we figured it out with technology how to do it.
Yeah, correct. Because if you're like in chaos, that goes back to an orderly mind that I spoke about earlier, and how to have that orderly mind. You have that confusion going on, and so what happens is you just have blocks. You can't think of nothing. You're just going around and around crazy. You just got to remember that, just to calm down, relax, and focus on what the outcome will be, that you desire the outcome.
Well, in that orderly mind, I've been conducting a workshop, and it goes back to the same thing with even your immediate environment. Obstacles might even just be that stack of papers that you know you need to handle, but they're preventing you, because of the anxiety that they cause, they're preventing you from focusing on one thing at a time. So creating order in your life, you need to look at it on the entire spectrum of not just a particular obstacle when it comes up at that time, but how you deal with everything. Instead of, because it becomes overwhelming when you have so much to do. And I know for myself.
Correct. And that's, and you know what you resist will persist.
Right. I like the way you said that. So what you're resisting, it keeps coming, right?
Correct. And it's going to sit right there. And I find myself sometimes doing that. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that, and it's like, it just sit there to like the last minute. And it'd be so funny because it could be set, or you don't want to do it. It could set like a week or two. And next thing you know, you do the work, you have to do it. And it only took you 20 minutes or 30 minutes.
But then all the strife and all the guilt and all the stress you had over it was unnecessary, right?
Correct.
Okay. So that leads us to tell us about worrying about the past or future, the pain that can cause and the suffering. So it's on that same note, and living in the present instead of the past or the future.
Correct. We only have now. We only have now. We only live in the now. So the past is the past. The future has not gotten here yet. So what happens is, I see this a lot too, and this is a great example for me because I was an abused child. Now, I could have stayed in the past, or always thinking about the past, like why they did this and why they did this and why he did this. And yes, I did discover my answer. My answer was God had given me the power, and as a kid, I wasn't aware of my power. And the person that did it to me, my stepdad, he was not operating in his power. He was asleep. I guess he wasn't aware of his power. I really explained it in the preface.
Of the actions, others people, we need to realize that other people might not have the consciousness of how their actions result in other people, what the results of their actions are, right? So they're asleep. We talked about that earlier, and I was having a discussion with someone else who'll be coming on in December about when we're living a life unconsciously. What does that mean? Well, we end up doing things automatically. Things become routine without us really understanding how those affect our lives. So on that note, what is the law of perpetual transmutation?
Well, that's actually stating that energy is moving. We can, an example of that would be, we can hold thoughts, hold an image in our mind. And as we hold that image in our mind, that's energy, like as I talked about it earlier. So it's pretty much, energy is not created or nor destroyed. So it's actually energy.
I think you describe it as like a constant flow. Was that in your book, or was that another book I read?
Correct. This is how I explain it. It explained that everything in the universe that we can see, hear, smell, taste, or touch, together with our emotions, is the manifestation of energy in a variety levels of vibration. The universe as a whole has its extent in an ocean of motion. So it's just the universe is just an ocean of motion, and the motion is it changed through the energy. So energy, I'm kind of skipping along, so I'm not reading word from word. Energy is in a constant state of transmutation. It is the cause and effect of itself. And it can be either, neither, I keep saying either, excuse me. It can neither be created nor destroyed. So it's just the flow of that energy.
And so that flow of energy and how we have those belief systems about ourselves, quite often you see people going through life looking to find satisfaction or joy and happiness through some outside source.
Correct.
Through an outside person. What do I mean by that? You find people who are miserable and they think that getting married is going to solve all their problems, and that now all of a sudden that person that they're connected with in a relationship is obligated somehow, and this is a problem that I think 85 at least percent of the population has, to make them happy. And what they're failing to see is that has to come from within, right? So would you like to talk a little bit about that, or what your thoughts are on that?
Correct. I see it happens a lot. People think it goes back to the money. They may think just because they have the money or they attract money and things like that, they're going to be happy. Actually, the only thing that's going to make you happy is understanding who you are, understanding nature, understanding life. When someone do not understand who they are, then they search on the outside for somebody to fill that gap. And so when you come together, even in a relationship, in a marriage, that person should be, I hear stuff all the time, that's my other half, that's my other half. No, you should be whole, you should be a whole, and you all should come together, so you don't depend on someone else, on the outside. And it goes back to people. One of the most important things that you must understand is the power of your mind, because what happens is we have paradigms that's in our subconscious mind. Paradigms can be from as you grew up, things, you know how you have your surroundings and you get these belief systems, and a lot of times your belief system is not your true belief system. It's your mom, dad, teacher, whoever, because your dad say you should grow up to be a teacher, or such, and so you have to really understand who you really are and understand that power of your mind, that you have those paradigms so that you can remove those paradigms.
You can be, like you said earlier, who you want to be and what you want to be.
Correct.
In a positive light, instead of letting those impressions from the outside world dictate what your future is going to be.
Correct. Because only the individual must tap into their power. Nobody else. If you're not using your power that God gave you, your power of your thoughts, then someone else is going to be thinking for you. But as a kid and as we're growing up, many of us, I think all of us have paradigms that are implanted into our subconscious mind. So what we have to do is go back to the cause, to the root, and understand what those paradigms are, how those paradigms got into your life, and then we turn around and we move those paradigms, we change those paradigms. I give you, I'm trying to think of a great example. I'm going to use this for example. Let's say, for instance, I think this is a great example. Let's just say, for instance, and this is how to change, force a paradigm. Let's say, for instance, you're trying to get out of debt. So majority of the people, they'll sit down and try to get out of debt. You do not try to get out of debt by trying to get out of debt. You get out of debt by raising your wealth consciousness. You're going to focus on wealth qualities, a wealth mindset, instead of thinking about what you don't have. And I think that's a good example for is changing your paradigms. So in other words, you focus on
what you do have.
Yes,
and what you will have. You feel as though you've already achieved that. So you put inside yourself the emotion, for instance, that, okay, my car was breaking down. Instead of focusing on the breaking down of the car, I'm focusing on how nice it's going to feel when I'm in my new car.
Yes. I'm really just touching a little bit on the side, but it's mainly a detail that it's a process that we go through, that I go through, to help you change those paradigms.
Yeah, there are a lot.
It's a lot. And I'm just talking. But I do want to say, in my book, the laws that's in the book is the laws that's actually govern our lives, and they working in harmony.
And they can buy your book on your website?
You can go to my website. I now presently have it connected to my meetup, which is KaninaJohnson.com. You can go ahead and become a member of my meetup group. Also, when you go to that site, you're going to get other links. You're going to get a link to Amazon, where you can actually purchase the book on Amazon. Or you can personally join my group, or you can send me an email to Kanina at KaninaJohnson.com, and you can purchase it directly from me. My book is released worldwide.
Wonderful. I'm very proud of you, and it's been an honor having you here today, Kanina. Thanks for tuning in to Courageous Journeys with me, Theodora, and Kanina Johnson. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
The hunt to quench your thirst is on. Ecolo Blue is a revolutionary atmospheric water generator, producing water straight from the air, up to 8 gallons a day at 20 cents per gallon with no additional hookup required. Ecolo Blue is the clear champion of the water solution revolution. To health, to purity, to the pursuit. Ecolo Blue.
Own it all at Car Fresno.
Family photos tell your stories. Faces, places, milestones, and moments. You probably meant to preserve those memories. But where are those pictures now? Hiding in boxes or inside the discoloring pages of old albums? Do you own hours of home movies and videotapes that you can't even watch? Slides and negatives that you've saved for all these years and you never get to see? Think of all of those precious memories that you've saved from the past to share with the future. Thanks to technology, we're taking more photos than ever, but we're not printing them like we should. Those digital images are held hostage on phones, tablets, and hard drives.
CentralValleyTalk.com